live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining us for 2 News Live. I'm Mark Cabell, filling in for Brian Schnee. We'll talk to him in a minute. He's on the road, headed to St. George. We'll tell you why. It is Monday, February 19th. We're going to be going in depth tonight on what to expect when Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt are sentenced. That's all set for tomorrow on child abuse charges. Before we dive into that, let's take a look at what's making headlines today in the news. The second of 2 drivers accused of racing on I-15, ending in a crash that sent a little 4-year-old girl to the hospital, has been found and identified. It happened Saturday night near Center Street in Provo. Officials say the driver of a Subaru WRX lost control, hit concrete barriers while racing a Dodge Charger. The Subaru driver was arrested on outstanding warrants and booked into the Utah County Jail. The driver of the Dodge was found and interviewed after some help from witnesses who identified the driver. The man was arrested after officials say he was speeding through Emery County with 260 pounds of meth in a car. Stephen Esquivias was allegedly driving 101 miles per hour when he was stopped by a UHP trooper. Esquivias allowed the trooper to conduct a search of the vehicle. They reported finding 4 large bins filled with a white crystal substance that later tested positive for methamphetamine. Officials estimated the street value to be between $5 and $7 million. Republicans go to the polls in South Carolina Saturday. It's the next state in the race to lock up the GOP nomination. Former UN Ambassador and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley trailing in the polls by double digits. Former President Donald Trump will hold a rally in Greenville, South Carolina. He will speak to his supporters on Tuesday night. One of Hill Air Force Base's military dogs just retired after 8 years of service. Kay, the German Shepherd, was awarded the K9 version of the Air and Space Force Commendation Medal for his service in the base's drug mission. He was forced to retire early due to a spinal nerve issue, but has found a forever home with Hill Air Force Base's kennel master and his family. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show. We love to hear from you. You can weigh in. You can use the hashtag 2NewsLive if you'd like to join in on the conversation. Always nice to hear from you. Well, tomorrow is a big day. Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt are going to be sentenced in St. George. Both women pleaded guilty to 4 counts of second-degree aggravated child abuse for what court documents called the, quote, torture of 2 of Franke's juvenile children at the Hildebrandt's home in Ivins. Our Brian Schnee will be in the courtroom for tomorrow's sentencing. Brian joining us right now. And Brian, any surprises that we're expecting tomorrow, and how long do you think these 2 are going to spend in prison?
All good questions, Mark, and I think we'll have a little bit more of an indication tomorrow. We're coming to you live from Hurricane right now. We just hit the road earlier this afternoon, and we arrived here in southern Utah within just a few minutes, so we figured we'd pop by the Purgatory Correctional Facility, which is where Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt have been held since late August when all of this really went down in Ivins. The wind is blowing a little bit, so hope you guys can hear us okay. I do want you to know that tomorrow should be just another formal piece of the court process here. It is the sentencing based on the plea agreements for both Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt. There's an opportunity for other people to speak here. This would be victims of this sort of crime. Now, you know the victims in this case are children, but others have the right to be able to submit things. We do know that Jodi's niece, Jessie Hildebrandt, was planning on doing just that. She will not be there tomorrow because they're out of the country right now, but it was one of those things that we're trying to see exactly what takes place tomorrow. The sentencing is not exactly what you will think. We won't learn likely how long these 2 will serve their prison term. They did admit, or rather agree to serve a prison term as part of their plea agreement. And all of these charges, these second-degree felony charges for aggravated child abuse, can have a term of 1 to 15 years. The maximum either Hildebrandt or Franke will actually serve is 30. And when you look at 4 charges, the math doesn't add up. So some people were saying 60 early on, but in the state of Utah, for these second-degree felonies, the maximum they can serve would be 30 years. We won't know exactly how long they will serve because that'll be determined by a board of pardons and parole, which likely won't meet and have another hearing for at least a few months. So tomorrow, Mark, merely a formality at this point, but moving through the court processing of the sentencing based on those plea agreements from both Franke and Hildebrandt. If you remember, that was right around the holidays when their hearings actually took place inside the 5th District Courthouse here in St. George.
Brian, after probation and parole takes a look at all this, does it then go back to the judge? And if it does he have any leeway in between that 1 to 15 term of a sentence there?
Mark, from our understanding, the parole board will be the one that actually sets the timing here. Now, I imagine this has to go back to yet another hearing. That is how the process works, one after another after another. If you remember, they did skip a lot of this traditional court process by entering that plea. There wasn't a whole lot of movement early on in this case after the initial weeks when we really learned about this and some of the initial pieces came out. So, as we understand it, it is up to this board to determine, which is why they did this pre-sentence investigation. That pre-sentence investigation, which is not public, has more information in it that we're hoping will be read into the record tomorrow if there's an opportunity for us to learn a little bit more about what they found in that investigation.
Before we let you go, I just wanted to know, some people could actually talk tomorrow. Is this supposed to be a pretty quick procedure in court tomorrow?
Mark, we're expecting this to be pretty quick. Really, this is a formality based on that plea agreement for the sentencing, so they will just plea into those 4 charges. They will be served consecutively as opposed to concurrently, so they will go one after another. That is something that was decided in that plea agreement. Again, there is an opportunity for family and friends and people to be there to witness this. However, speaking is a whole nother thing. So it's likely that these things will be relatively quick. Ruby Franke in court at 10 o'clock, Jodi Hildebrandt at 10:30. And how we've seen the Utah court system play out, things will probably be right to the T in terms of timing. But once again, we are expecting, of course, Ruby and Jodi to be inside of the 5th District Courthouse in St. George, as opposed to being here at the Purgatory Correctional Facility, where they've been held for months since late August. We'll see how things ultimately go down tomorrow, but as of right now, not anticipating any surprises.
All right, Brian Schnee will have our coverage from St. George tomorrow, along with Amanda Gilbert, and we want to hear from you at home as well. How steep do you think the penalties should actually be for Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt? You can scan the QR code on your screen if you'd like to weigh in. Right now, 88% say a steep penalty for both would be justified. 4% say a steeper penalty for Ruby Franke. 6% said steeper for Jodi Hildebrandt. 2% say both should get a light sentence. Light, not life, light sentence. Franke will be sentenced first at 10 o'clock. That'll be followed by Jodi Hildebrandt at about 10:30. And again, our Amanda Gilbert and Brian Schnee will be anchoring our coverage tomorrow from St. George. As soon as we get information from them, we'll send out push alerts to your mobile device to keep you updated on what's happening in the courtroom. A noticeable increase in Utah gas prices recently after dropping to about $2.50. Prices are back close to $3 a gallon now. As prices go up, we wanted to see what drivers are seeing. Christian Sita caught up with a few. Christian, what did they tell you today about our gas prices that have gone up over the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, that's right, Mark. I talked to a few folks at a local gas station here in Salt Lake City, and they told me that they've noticed a 20 to 30 cent increase in prices, which is pretty close to the national average of $3.27. Now, our prices did drop to $2.50, but now they're getting closer to $3. On the AAA website, it does say that gas is $2.93 a gallon in most Utah counties. And in some counties like Beaver and Wayne County, it's about, over $3. Now, I did reach out to AAA and Gas Buddy, but they weren't available for an interview actually, since today is a holiday, but they did tell me they'll get back to me tomorrow on why we're seeing that price spike. Now, actually, the gas is a little cheaper this time around than last year. Last year, people were paying about $3.77 per gallon.
All right, Christian, and we checked today, $2.95 here in Utah. That's up 14 cents just in the past couple of weeks. So our prices are going up. We're still, though, below the national average, so we've got that going for us, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're still below that national average. And again, I did talk to people, and they're hoping that, we don't get to that point. But again, we don't really know why we're seeing those prices increase. And again, they're really happy that at least, we're not at, $3.20 so far.
So far, so good. All right. Christian, thank you very much. All right, first alert weather. Sean, did we Is that a record today?
It is not a record. The current record for this day is 66 degrees, so not quite close, but I mean, it was a wonderful day. It was warm. It was even sunny earlier on in the day. It was kind of golf weather, spring-like. But we're going to start to see some changes here.
Not very sunny out there right now.
In the days ahead. Yeah, the clouds are streaming in. So let's get to the map.
Take us through it.
What's going on out there. You can kind of see the camera shaking a little bit as well. A little bit of a light breeze out there with some 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts will be possible this evening. But yeah, the clouds have returned, and we're going to get ready here for some rain showers that are slowly pushing through the area. Showers increasing across the northern part of the state with widespread soaking valley rain expected at periods throughout the day tomorrow, especially into the evening. And then even very heavy mountain snow we are tracking all the way through potentially Thursday morning. So the best chance of rain for the Wasatch Front will be through the day tomorrow, but we'll still get some lingering storms and shower chances as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. So an active stretch of weather here with much of the area even seeing accumulating snow. Now, the majority of the snow will be above 7,000 feet, but out in the Sardine area, you can even see we've got a slushy evening commute out there. So please be careful in some of those higher elevations where we could see some accumulating snow, and especially in those very high elevations where we could see really heavy snow and up to 6 to 12 inches of snow expected later on this evening. Not for you in St. George, though. It is spring-like and beautiful, 66 degrees. We've got a mix of sun and clouds down there. We're down to 50 here in Salt Lake. Still under that inversion from early this morning in the Logan area, below freezing at 31, Heber at 43. We're down to 54 in Cedar City, Milford area at 55 as well. We've got a whole lot of active weather here. Southwest flow, a big storm here, all up and down the Pacific Northwest into Northern California, seeing some good heavy rain and some thunderstorms as well. And then we're kind of in the front end of the first wave of a series of storms that we're going to see, and you can see up from Logan into Brigham City, seeing periods of some snow showers and rain showers pushing through, and nice band of some heavy rain and precipitation pushing through the northern part of the state down to Salt Lake. We're starting to see some light rain and some sprinkles mixing in right now. Back from Park City, we've got some snow showers, and then to the Cottonwoods area, seeing some steady snow now. Draper as well, seeing some of that light rain. We'll continue to see this here through the next several hours. Through midnight, some good heavy precipitation falling for much of the northern part of the state. Then as we get into early tomorrow morning for the morning commute, we gradually start to dry things out with just periods of some isolated rain showers. Still some light mountain snow for much of our central and northern mountains, but generally drying out, getting ready for the next wave. That'll be tomorrow evening with some heavy valley rain, heavy mountain snow, and that continues on through Tuesday night and into early Wednesday morning. Notice the coverage expands for the southern half of the state as well. That continues on through even in the middle day on Wednesday, and the precipitation keeps going into Wednesday evening as well. So we are in this for the long haul here. You're going to definitely need that rain jacket and that umbrella through the next few days. And if you're in those higher elevations, you're going to need that shovel and plan ahead to use that ice scraper as well. 1 to 2 feet expected into portions of our northern mountains south of I-80, 6 to 12 inches for our extreme northern mountains, all the way down into portions of central and southern Utah. So a good snowfall and a good rain event we are expecting in the days ahead, with some isolated areas, including maybe even here in Salt Lake, seeing upwards of over an inch or so of rain. So some good rain here in the days ahead. Temperatures overnight, not quite as cold as what we saw last night, but still pretty chilly. You'll need the jacket tomorrow morning. We're down into the 30s with some isolated rain showers for the morning commute tomorrow, and then periods of heavy rain by tomorrow afternoon and evening. 40s out there, and St. George could even see a few lightning strikes out there, with temperatures into the 50s and then drying out into the upcoming weekend. Back up into the 60s we go, and then along the Wasatch Front we'll see temperatures into the 40s and 50s, but kind of unsettled weather here through the days ahead, with some nicer weather by the end of the week.
All right, Sean, thank you very much. Yeah, things are definitely going to be changing, and you might want to do this. Remember to download our 2 News weather app. You'll get changes in the weather right in your specific neighborhood. Get updated forecasts, live radar right on your phone. The app is free to download. All right, Starbucks has opened its first cafe designed to give customers with disabilities more accessibility. The Washington, D.C. location includes softer indoor lighting to minimize glare, shadow patterns, and backlighting to help people read menu items or in-store info. Materials that minimize background noise or echoes, which could disrupt people using hearing aids. Minimum clutter at the front of the store to make it easier for customers in wheelchairs or motorized scooters to get around. And also lower countertops where coffee and food is placed for pickup. For those who have wheelchairs, they have easier access to pick up their orders. All pretty good, pretty good stuff. Yeah. All right, thanks a lot for watching 2 News Live. Brian Schnee will be down anchoring our coverage tomorrow in St. George for the Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt trial. We'll be talking more in depth about that tomorrow. We'll see you then. Have a great afternoon, everybody.